Acrylic brush is one of the most important tools for nail technician. If you treat it right, it can serve you up to a few years. I actually have one brush that was working for 7 years straight. It doesn't look very clean, but is still working. In this video, I'm going to share some tips and tricks on how to make them last longer, how to take care of them, and how to work with them. Coming up. Hello guys, this is Anastasia. In this video, we're going to talk about acrylic brushes. I will explain what's the difference, how to choose the good ones, and also we'll talk about acrylic brushes sizes. Which one is going to work for you, whether you're a beginner or a pro. Also, I will review brushes by a brand called Zoccee. It's available on Amazon, and all brushes come in these cute gift boxes.
When you see these boxes, you think that this is some kind of a gift. It doesn't even look like there's going to be a brush inside. I really like when companies are paying attention to packaging because I think it's important too. So let's open them up. Okay, here we have brush number 12, Acrylic. And also with the brush there comes a manual on how to take care of it, how to use it, how to prep the new brush, and this is cool because I think it's important too. And some people just have no idea how to use the brush for the first time, how to prep it, and they may even accidentally ruin it. And then we have another brush, which is number 10, Acrylic. And then we have number 14, and finally number 8. So they have this beautiful rainbow chrome design, and they also have this opening handle, which means when you're using the brush you can just put it right here or just put it away and use the brush, and when you're done you carefully close it, and there is a ventilation hole, so you do not need to worry that the vapors are going to stay inside. And this is very comfortable because I'm working with acrylic for a very long time, and when a brush have a handle and a hole in it, that is going to prolong the life of your brush. This is brush number 8, the smallest one. This is, I guess, is the residue from the glue that we're going to take off later. So this is the smallest one, and it is usually recommended for beginners because it's actually easier to work with a smaller one. However, number 10 is also not too big, so I think these two numbers are going to work if you're just getting started. Number 12 is bigger, so if you would like to do longer nails, if you prefer to pick up larger beads, then 12 will be a better solution. And finally we have number 14, which is going to be great if you will be doing long nails, stilettos, inlay design where you need a really large beads to cover the surface of the nail. If you already have experience working with acrylic, then I think you would like to use number 12 or 14. And they all have an oval shape, as you can see, which for me is perfect because I really prefer working with this shape. But now these brushes are new and we cannot just take them and put them inside of the monomer. First, we need to prep them, and only after that you can use them and apply acrylic. When you have a new brush, you need to take it off from the plastic container and do not use it again. Open the lid, and now we need to clean this hard substance that we have on the brush when it's new. You can use white soft tissue to separate the bristles or your own fingers as long as you're wearing gloves. You can also use orange wood stick. If couple bristles will fall off when the brush is new, it's completely normal. And do not rush, do not put it in the monomer right away until you clean all the residue between the bristles. This is what the brush should look like once you clean it before you put it into the monomer for the first time. Make sure that you have enough monomer into the deepened dish so that you can put the brush inside without touching the bottom. If you are not able to do this, consider using a bigger size of the deepened dish or simply add the monomer all the way up. Then gently clean the excess monomer and dry the brush. After this kind of prep, all bristles should come to one point and the tip of the brush should look sharp. This is what the brush should look like once you prep it, and now it is ready for work. When you're done working, make sure that the brush is clean, there is no acrylic powder or monomer residue. Then close the lid and store it in this position. Since there is a hole right here, we do not need to worry about ventilation and the brush is going to be safe during storage or transportation. Brush number 8 is the smallest one out of them 4, and it is perfect for picking up small beads. Therefore, it will work for beginners, for creating short nails, and for different kinds of nail art. Number on the brush determines the size of the brush, so the bigger this number is, the more bristles you will have in your brush. Let's say number 8 is definitely smaller than size number 10. Number 10 is one of the most common sizes for nail sculpting, so you can use it for sculpting medium and long nails, creating inlay design, so technically anything. And it is also suitable for beginners and for nail technicians who already have experience. Number 12 is the next one, and this brush is even bigger. Number 12 is the one I recommend for long nails. Long stiletto, long coffin, any kind of long nails, and also it is perfect for picking up large beads, so it is going to work great if you are encapsulating different kinds of designs. Finally, we have number 14, and this is the biggest size out of them all, and obviously it's even bigger, so you can use it for super long nails, for different kind of crazy 3D and long designs. So the bigger the brush is, the easier it is to pick up a large bead. So most of the time I use number 10, and for long nails I use 12 or 14. With a certain amount of skill, it's possible to pick up even large beads with brush number 8, but it's much easier to do this with a bigger size. Now let me show you the difference. Let's pick up the bead with brush number 8 first, and I will try to pick up a large bead, like as large as possible. So I just barely clean the excess monomer, and then I pick up the bead. Okay, so I think this is the biggest one that I can pick, and you can see that it's pretty large, even though the brush is small, but there's no way I can pick up it bigger because there will not be enough monomer to saturate this amount of powder. And do not forget to clean your brush afterwards. Let's try the big brush now. Okay, put it into the monomer, barely clean it, and pick up the bead. Wow, this one is definitely going to be way bigger. Release, and do not forget to clean the brush right away. So this is the difference between picking up the largest bead with brush number 8 and number 14. This is going to kill your acrylic brush. If you already have some acrylic beads, some powder, some monomer leftovers, do not use this tissue again to clean your brush, because technically you're putting this acrylic back inside. Instead, you need to use a new clean tissue to clean your brush, and if you do this, it is going to serve you for years.
Let's try these brushes on the client. First, we need to prep the nails, and I'm going to take off the surface shine using 180 grit file. And then we're going to do some acrylic extensions and see how these brushes work. I already did some prep, dry manicure, and since I'm going to use forms, I filed the free edge short. We decided to do almond shape and medium length, so I already fit the form, and now we need to apply dehydrator, let dry, and some non-acid primer. You do not need to use base coat when you're working with acrylic nails. First, I'm going to build the base. When you're working with any kind of glitter or color acrylics, I recommend you to use clear underneath anyways. Because first of all, clear is going to create a better adhesion.
And also, if your client changes mind next time and you will decide to do a different kind of design, it will be much easier if you have some clear product underneath. To build the tip, I will need a medium-sized bead, and when working with clear acrylic, sometimes it can be tricky because you cannot see it right away and you may not even notice that your brush is getting clogged. So make sure you clean it with a dry tissue every time after you pick up the bead or you work with a brush on top of the nail. After building a tip, I'm going to add some clear on the nail bed area because I also want to protect the natural nail, because if you will be using colors right away, some bright colors, especially black or dark ones, may absorb into the nail plate. And also, like I mentioned previously, the adhesion will be so much better when you're using clear acrylic powder. When you're working directly on the nail, it is very important to use a proper consistency. If you will be using the one that is more wet, then you're risking using more monomer than you're supposed to, and eventually it may cause some allergic reactions. Once we have thin, clear foundation, it's time to add some colors. I will be using pink and blue. And we decided to do a so-called blush nails, when you have more red or pink color in the middle, and near the cuticle and on the free edge you have more cool tones. Technically, it's like a circle-shaped ombre. I'm using the same brush, this is number 10 that I used for clear, but if you're working with acrylics a lot, I recommend you to have a separate brush for glitter colors. Even though it's important to clean it properly each time and to get rid of all the glitter particles completely, it is still better if you will have a separate brush for clear or nude colors, separate one for glitters, and another one for bright colors, such as red, black, and so on. You may notice that the consistency I'm using right now is more wet compared to the one I used before. And you're right, and it is acceptable because now I'm not working directly on the nail plate and it is easier to blend the colors when the consistency is slightly wet. So I'm adding pink into the center and blue on the free edge and near the cuticle. Whenever you feel that the product is missing in some area, it is better to add it right away. And finally, we are going to seal it with clear. I do not need to add too much because we already have enough product and there's enough apex in the middle. But I recommend you to seal any kind of design, especially when you're using shimmer or glitter colors with clear, because clear acrylic sets so much faster and you will not need to wait for too long. Now let me show you once again how I'm going to do the sealing part. So I start from the cuticle, but do not forget to leave a little margin. So if your brush is clean and has this sharp edge, it is going to be super simple to work near the cuticle area. As you apply the product onto the surface of the nail, your brush should be flat, like a knife. And please do not forget to clean it all the time, because this is how your brush is going to serve you longer. If you feel like some acrylic is stuck between the bristles and it just happened, the easiest way to clean it is to use a clean monomer. Now we're done with the product application. This is the nail art that we have. This is what you need to do every time you're finishing your application. You need to take some clean monomer. You can use the cheapest one, it doesn't really matter. And then you need to clean your brush. You can see that I still have some shimmer inside of my brush, and the goal is to keep cleaning until it's completely clean. So you need to use a dry tissue, a clean part of it each time, until you see that there is no shiny residue in your brush. And if your brush looks like this, you did a good job. You can close it with a cap, and then we proceed to filing and shaping. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that acrylic brush is one of the most important tools for nail technician. And I think that most of your work when you are doing acrylic nails should be done with a brush, not with a file or electric nail file. That's why the application part of acrylic nails usually takes the majority of time during the service, and the shaping and filing part Takes about 10 to 15 minutes. All I need to do is to file the cuticle area with carbide bead and then do some filing and shaping with 180 grit hand file. I enjoyed working with the Zoccee acrylic brushes, and considering that they are pretty affordable, I can definitely recommend it for beginners and for pros. And then I thought that this design looks kind of boring if we will have just the color, even though it's so shiny and pretty once you seal it with a glossy top coat. So we decided to add a couple rhinestones. They always make most designs much better, right? And I'm going to use a solid glue gel to secure them. So we decided to add one heart-shaped and another one which is in the shape of the drop on the free edge, and cure it in LED for 1 minute. Then you can also seal it with a top coat. The design is ready. Let me guys know what you think, and all the links to the acrylic brushes that I used will be in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time here on my channel, consider subscribing, as I post new nail art tutorials and tips and tricks for nail technicians, just like this one every week. See you in my next one. Goodbye!